Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Now, if we think our world's crazy, nothing is so crazy as the celebrity world, is it? And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm going to talk about Diddy. I mean, just even saying that name, it's ridiculous, isn't it? And now, of course, all the accusations that have come out about Diddy, I don't really know who he is, to be perfectly honest. He's after my time. I'm not really into rap and things. That's something my son knows a lot more about. I do like Eminem. I've been to see Eminem in concert, and I used to like 50 Cent and a few other rap artists. But I don't really know anything about Diddy. And it's just the names. I'm sorry, get a normal name. Get a normal name. That's first and foremost in my book. But anyway, so of course there's been all these allegations against him, and you can't keep up with them, can you? And it's like not only SA, but it doesn't matter if it's a boy or girl. It doesn't, he's not fussy. Do you know what I mean? It's like he'll abuse anybody if all the rumours are true. Now, of course, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. And now it turns out, as it always with these kind of cases, more accusations are coming out, and the circle is widening, of who's being accused. And now the news today is Jay-Zee, Beyonce's husband. Now, I do know who Beyonce is, and that's the only reason I know who Jay-Z is because he's married to her. I have no idea about his music or, as I say, well after my time. But you know what? There's a lot of music that I do like that is still after my time, but I either like it or I don't. As I say, I love Eminem. But of course, Eminem is old now, isn't he? Isn't he 50 now or something like that? So... but recent music, I know I do like recent music, but I don't really like rap music. So it's not a case, although I've seen it obviously because it's been all over the social media and that, because I don't really know much about Diddy, much about his music, anything about him or his life. It's not something that I've looked at all, and I've kept meaning to look at it, but because it's a totally new thing for me, it's not most times when things come up and they're true crime cases, because of the interest that I've had in true crime for so long. I normally know a little bit about it, at least a little bit, if not a lot. But with this particular case, I don't know that much. So we'll be finding out about it together today. And there's a few intriguing things come out, if it's true about Jay-Z. If it's true, because of course he's denying it. It's not very nice for him if it's not true to be accused of that just before Christmas. He's got a wife, he's got children. But then, of course, if he is guilty, it should come out. So good morning, Heather. I think it's just you and me here at the moment, though there are a few other people watching. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for being a subscriber. If you are a subscriber, if you're not, please consider it. It's completely free. Please remember to leave your DNA on the like button. And why not consider becoming a member? Tonight we've got the members live. Heather, I've got a new video for us to watch, a welcome members video, a Christmas one. And also thank you to anyone who's bought me a Ko-fi, sent me a super sticker, PayPal me, etc., emailed me, left a nice message. I appreciate everybody who participates positively in my channel. Okay, so let's have a closer look at these two. So yeah, Heather, hopefully I'll see you there tonight. I hope let's have a look at these people. So we've got Jay-Z, who's on the left, I presume. Yeah, and is he called PJ Diddy or something? I don't know. I literally know nothing about this guy. But allegedly he's abused so many, like, young people trying to get into the music business. Now, the thing is, the music business, like the TV business, the film business, any of these sort of businesses, they are run, aren't they, on sex in a way, aren't they? You know, sex, once people get into a position of power, they use that as a way of controlling, you know, giving people an opening into the world of the world of fame. You know, celebrity is not everything that it's cut out to be. You know, often there's a hard road, you know, getting there to become famous. Often there is abuse on that road. It's not, that's not just now. I think what's happening now is people are getting to find out about it. There's always been a casting couch in Hollywood, for example. You know, there's always been stars, actors, actresses, musicians, etc., that have used their power to influence young people, you know, who want to break into the music business or the acting business or the TV business. You know, there always has been that, and unfortunately there probably always will be that, because a lot of people, that's part of the reason why they want to get famous, is so that they can use their fame not only for money but easy sex, you know, and some people just get off on that power. You know, I think for most normal people, you wouldn't, well, I don't know, you tell me what you think. Would it be, to me, I'd be paranoid thinking, oh, well, you know what, they're only sleeping with you because you're rich or because you're powerful and they don't really care about you. That would bother me. But it doesn't bother some people. In fact, some people get off on that, don't they? I remember one rapper that I saw on Celebrity Big Brother, little guy. I think he was actually called Tiny something, because they've always got these ridiculous names, haven't they? And I remember him saying, oh, I'm a lot taller when I stand on my wallet. You know, and that, at the end of the day, that says a lot, doesn't it? A lot taller when you stand on your wallet. So a lot of people, I suppose, they like the adulation, but it's false adulation. You know, these people, the hangers on, etc., they don't care about them as a person. They just care about the money or what they can do for them. That would bother me. You know, in fact, I'd probably be paranoid about it. But there you go. They obviously don't care. But you know, there's different kinds of people, aren't there? Some people care what people think of them, other people don't care what people think of them. So that's just the way of the world, isn't it? Now it seems like Diddy, I've got to look up his proper name or something, you know, probably don't, well, not very much if I'm calling him by a strange name, but let's see what's happened today. So well, let's have a look at Diddy's accusations first, because it's all started with him, isn't it? Let's have a look at him first. Start off looking at him. Let me just take this picture off. Share. So yeah, this is Shawn Diddy Combs, and he's 55 years old. So he was born on November the 4th, 1969. His full name is Shawn John Combs. Let's have a look at the accusations against him. There's a lot of it today. The news today is all about the two of them, like this incident that supposedly happened not only with Diddy and Jay-Z, but also there was supposedly a female celebrity present. Why has she not been named? You know, I want to know who she was. Oh, here we go. So Shawn John Combs, also known by his stage name Diddy, and formerly Puff Daddy and P. Diddy. Do you know, just saying that, I feel like bursting out laughing. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, just sounds silly, doesn't it? Anyway, he's an American rapper, record producer, and record executive. He's credited with the discovery and development of musical artists, including the notorious B.I.G., never heard of him, Mary Blige, I've heard of her, and Usher, yeah, I've heard of them. So let's just have a look at Wikipedia, because they'll give me a quick sort of summary of what's happened. So he was born in Harlem and raised in Mount Vernon, and he worked as a talent director at Uptown Records before founding his own record label, Bad Boy Records. Right, okay, so he's had his own songs from the look of this. I haven't heard of any of them. I know it's awful, isn't it? I know I've been like, I think there's this bit in my musical history that I'm completely missing, which is this bit. For, you know, I just would have had no interest in. I've only really, you know, as my son's got older and he likes, he's sort of from that era, I suppose, more. He likes rap and stuff, but I just never liked it. But I do like Eminem and 50 Cent. I don't know why. Don't know why I would even know about them, to be honest. So he, in late 2023, he settled a high-profile essay and abuse lawsuit filed by his former partner, Cassie Ventura. Wasn't there a video or something? I sort of vaguely remember this. So he's been charged with sex trafficking and racketeering. He's in prison at the moment. He's pled not guilty, but he's been denied bail 3 times. And he's currently detained at the Metropolitan Detention Centre. And his trial is set to start on May the 5th, 2025. So he was born in Harlem, which of course is an undesirable neighborhood, I suppose. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but I think it is in New York City. His mother was a model and a teacher's assistant, and his father was in the Air Force and was an associate of convicted New York drug dealer Frank Lucas. Oh, and his father was shot dead at the age of 33 when Diddy was 2 years old while sitting in his car on Central Park West. He has a sister, Keisha, and grew up in poverty. Oh dear, he was raised as a Catholic and served as an altar boy. That's a bit worrying, isn't it? I wonder if did he have abuse? Was he abused? Anyway. So he graduated from an all-boys Catholic school. He played football, and he was given the nickname Puff as a child because he would huff and puff when he was angry. Right, I won't go through everything, but just to what's going on now. Let me see. So he's a father to 7 children. I wonder what his kids think now. So his first biological child, a son, Justin, was born in 1993. So has he lost one child? Who's Porter? Porter? Oh no, so one of his ex-girlfriends died of pneumonia in 2018. That's sad, isn't it? So he's got a lot of children, hasn't he? Don't know what they'll all think, but he was raised a Catholic. He was an altar server, but he said he does not adhere to any specific religious denomination. He said, I just follow right from wrong. So I could pray in a synagogue or a mosque or a church. I believe there is only one God. And in a 2023 interview, Coombs said he believes that God is a woman. Okay, so he's formed all these charity daddies, house social programs, an organisation to help inner city youth. That's good, isn't it? But it's these parties, isn't it? So he had these parties where there was supposed to be, a lot of abuse that went on. you know, I am literally reading this and learning this with you because I don't know anything about Diddy. I didn't know anything about him. So I'm just trying to get to what's going on now. So, yeah, it seems like he's been sued by quite a few people for SA. And then, of course, it was that surveillance footage. That's right. I remember there was a video. A video emerged in 2024. Is this where it all really started? Of him physically assaulting Cassie Ventura in that hotel. And this is one of the allegations made in the lawsuit. He's apologized for this. He allegedly tried to bribe the staff who witnessed it. But then now there's going to be, so the Washington Post this year in October reported that a team of lawyers will be filing as many as 120 more lawsuits. Gosh, I mean, that's a lot, isn't it? And half of the alleged victims say they reported the assault to police, to a doctor, or to the FBI. Some claim to have been drugged or offered hush money. So don't forget, he hasn't had his trial yet, so we've got to see what happens in his trial, but doesn't look very good. Let's put it that way. It doesn't look very good because he's been denied bail. So there'll be a big reason why he's been denied bail, you know, because someone like him would normally get bail, I suppose. Hi, Laurie. I love the way you lie, Laurie, that song with Rihanna and Eminem. I love that song. I love the video. I think it's called I Love the Way You Lie. Anyway, that's one of the lines out of it, but it's a brilliant song. It's a brilliant song and a brilliant video. But of course, it describes domestic abuse, you know, so really it's, you know, Rihanna. Anyway, so we don't, you know, I wouldn't like to comment on it. I mean, it's a video, it's a song, but it does describe domestic abuse. It's about a toxic relationship, you know, and makes you wonder, you know, is that really very wise, or is it? But it is a really good song, so I don't know. People have to make their mind up about that. It is a very good song and a very good video. Anyway, so that's about the limit of my rap knowledge, is Eminem, really. I know probably most Eminem songs and I've watched all his videos, etc. But that's it, you know. That's all I know. And Heather, you say getting down with the kids, but Eminem, I think he's 50 now, so he's not exactly young, you know, so he's from a different era. It's all a different era now, isn't it? Times change, you know, every 5 years, really, everything changes. And you know, soon there's a brilliant Simpsons episode where he goes into like a record shop and he asks for I don't know, a video, a CD or an LP or whatever it is, and they send him to the oldies, you know, the classics section, and he's like, you know, what do you mean? Because the thing is, music does define us, doesn't it? The music of our generation, the music. I grew up as a new romantic, you know, it was listening, well, sort of started as a punk when I was a young teenager. It was punk. Was the Sex Pistols, and everything was anarchy, and we were very political, and you know, it was all that sort of thing. And then all the sort of punk era, and then changed to new romantic, you know, and it was like Soft Cell and Spandau Ballet and Duran Duran, etc. Simply Red, all the bands then coming out of Manchester, and you know, so it's, but again, there was a lot of political songs. A lot of Simply Red songs were political, you know, they were about the Thatcher era and what have you. So music sort of, so we all get stuck in our generation as far as music's concerned, don't we? You know, it's hard to break out of that. And, you know, then came along sort of, so that's like 70s. Oh, there was the disco era in the 70s when I was a young teenager. Then punk, then it was new romantic, and then of course all this trance rubbish came out in the 90s, and I just don't like that at all. And that was the drugs era, wasn't it? You know, the Hacienda in Manchester and whatever. And then I don't like the trance music and that. I just think it's brain numbing. I don't understand why anybody would like it. But, you know, again, that's because I'm a product of my generation, and people who were going out in the 90s, they'll think trance, what do you call it? I call it garbage, but it's garage, isn't it? And stuff like that. But people who are going out in those eras, they'll think it's brilliant, you know. Hi, Dottie. So, you know, we're all conditioned by the songs we listened to in our youth. We associate them with when we were going out, when we were enjoying ourselves, when we were carefree, you know, before, when we were living at home and, you know, whinging about it. And then, of course, realizing now that, oh God, it was great, you know, because you didn't have any, the only worry you had was, did you have enough money to go out with? And what were you going to wear? You know, these were your worries, you know. So it's different, you know. And then those sort of like the 90s music, then you've got the noughties music, and now I don't know what they call it, the music of this era of the 2020s. So, you know, everybody's, you know, I think the rap music was in the noughties, wasn't it? Is that when that all started and that? I don't know. But so every era has a music, a type of music that anyone who was young and going out in that time will think is the best. You know, and the people that were going out in the 60s, I don't like 60s music at all. But anyone who was growing up in the 60s or going out as a teenager will think 60s music was brilliant. You know, so we're all, for me, it's really 80s, a bit of 70s. I like the disco stuff from the 70s, but mainly 80s music. It's my era, so I'm stuck in the 80s. That's just the way it is. But what we've noticed is a lot of that music has come back, isn't it, and been re-released, you know. So yeah, exactly. So some of those you wonder if in years to come people be playing Diddy's music, you know. But even now people are still playing Rick Astley and thinking it's bloody brilliant, you know. And that's an era for that. I remember all the songs from the 80s are being remixed or re-released, or, you know, and that's a good thing as well, combining it with other eras and things. You know, music is a pleasure, but I think for all of us, we are a bit stuck in our era, our particular era. For me. 70s for you, Heather. Yeah, I like a bit of the 70s, but 80s was mine. You know, Culture Club, and I just love. And then, of course, Madonna came out, and, you know, she's been around all that time. So, yeah, but yeah, as I say, will people remember Diddy? Well, especially if he's in prison, will people remember any of his music? So, of course, the revelations today are that Jay-Z as well has been accused of, you know, a joint act, if you like. So one accusation that had already been filed against Diddy has now been filed against Jay-Z. And also that's mentioned in this is some female celebrity who apparently sat and watched this girl being RAPD'd. Why has she not been mentioned? And surely that can't be Beyonce, you know, because Beyonce is Jay-Z's wife. Who is this person who was supposedly there? So let me read you the article. Now, he's denying everything vehemently, as I suppose, you know, he would. But let's have a look. So the girl who allegedly has been RAPD'd is 13 years old. So this is Jay-Z. He's bobbing on a little bit now, I suppose. When I say bobbing on, I don't know. It might say here how old he is. So rapper Jay-Z has been accused of raping a 13-year-old girl after the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000. So this is 24 years ago. So it's another one of these historic, I mean, listen, I don't think there should be an expiry date on these accusations, but this accuser, if she was 13 then, she'll be, well, she won't be that old now, will she? So she'll be, God, I can't even add up 13 and 24. 37. So she'd already accused Diddy, and now she's accusing Jay-Z as well. And she's identified as Jane Doe, and she said the assault happened at an after party. Now, the thing is, wherever you've got music and famous people, you know, I remember when I was 13, we used to go to Granada Studios in Manchester, hang out outside to see, you know, Coronation Street stars, DJs when they had Top of the Pops. We would, footballers, you know, we would all, now I was quite an innocent 13-year-old, let's say, but not all 13-year-olds, when I say they're not innocent, I don't mean that's a slur on them, but some are more precocious than others, and some of the girls looked older, and I'm not saying that's an excuse for the famous people to take advantage of them, but, you know, like, me and my friends, we look 13, you know, so I don't know, but we never even thought about we wanted their autograph. We weren't trying to get off with them, you know, or anything like that. But, you know, you do get that. It does happen. And but it is the responsibility of that famous person. They're the one with the power. It's their responsibility to make sure that the girls or whoever's sort of making a play for them or whatever, because they probably do, but it's the responsibility of the famous person who's got the power to check that that person is above age or whatever, not to just, you know, even if you say to a girl who looks maybe 18, how old are you? And she says she's 18, but really she's 13. That's not, you know, she's still the child in that relationship or that episode. So it's up to the famous person to make sure, if it, you know, almost like they have to, you know, check their birth certificate or whatever, but it's their responsibility to do that, because at the end of the day there's loads of girls out there who are of age that they could probably sleep with if they wanted to, so they've got to check. It's up to them to check that the girls are old enough, because, you know, young girls with the hormones and everything, they do get hysterical over famous singers, actors, etc. You know, but that's it's like if even in normal life, you know, whether someone's famous or not, if you're in a position, like say you're a teacher or you're in any position of power over someone, and that person, they might develop a crush on you, but that's your responsibility to not let that go any further. You know, you can't then say afterwards, oh, well, they led me on. You're the teacher, or you're the person in authority, you're the adult. It's up to you to make sure it doesn't go any further. You can't blame it on the young person, even though they may have made the first move. It's up to you to stop it. You're the responsible one. Anyway, sorry, I got a bit carried away there. So a federal lawsuit, which originally only named Coombs, was refiled on Sunday in New York to add Jay-Zee, whose real name is Shawn Carter. And according to NBC News, the lawsuit claims that Jane Doe was dropped off at the VMAs at Radio City Hall by a friend. She did not have a ticket and approached various limousine drivers to try and gain access to the show or after party. So she was 13, a friend dropped her off there, and just, that's not much of a friend, is it? Just drops her off at some, you know, where did she think she was going on her own? Anyway, one driver allegedly told Jane Doe he worked for Coombs and she fit what Diddy was looking for. Because the thing is, what these people that are predators do, they have these people. That driver is just as bad. They have people looking out in the crowds, don't they, for someone that they find attractive. That they don't go and then ask for their ID to make sure if they're above age. Maybe they tell them to look for a younger one. Someone like Diddy, was he deliberately looking for underage girls or boys? Because it seems like Diddy, anyone would do for Diddy, as long as he was in a position of power over them, as long as they were young. Hi, David. Hi. Yeah. Well, they do look you're older nowadays, Laurie, but I'm talking about years ago. A lot of girls, Joe, even at my school, there were girls, same age as me, but a lot more forward than I was. I was quite innocent, really, when I think about it, when I was at school, even up to sort of 16, etc. But some girls, they just seem so worldly. They would be talking about their experiences. And of course, some of the girls at my school, they were having affairs with teachers. And, when I think about it, now, we knew about it. We all knew that one girl was having an affair with the headmaster. We knew, and he was a really old man. When I say really, I mean, even now I would think he was an old man. He must have been at least 60. Maybe he was 50, but I thought he was 60 because I was so young then. But we all knew that these two were having an affair. There was another teacher, the physics teacher, he was having an affair with one of the girls. She was a little bit older than me. So let's say I was 13, 14. She may have been 15, but she was, she wasn't older than 16 because she was still at school. But we all knew that they were, but we never said anything. It's awful, isn't it, really? Just odd, really, that we just accepted it. Oh, that's what they're doing, It's crazy, really, when you think about it. And quite, there were lots of teachers. You did have crushes on teachers. I had a crush on my art teacher. I just adored him, but I never sort of, it was never flirted with him or anything. It's just like, think young children, especially teenagers, they do get crushes on their teachers. That is what happens. I remember my German teacher as well. Teachers are very important. It's a very sort of potent relationship that you have with the teacher, because if you like them, you do well in that subject, and if you don't, you don't. But you have to hope that the teacher is principled enough to not want to take that relationship any further, because there's probably lots of times that they could, but yeah. I think the thing is, I think you're right, Dottie, because I think what happens is, I don't think they become more twisted I think they already were like that, but when they get money and fame, they get the opportunity, don't they? There's probably lots of people out there in normal life who would like to do some of the things that these people do, but they don't get the opportunity to do it because they haven't got the money, and they're not in the position, they haven't got the opportunity to do it. And I think obviously then when someone becomes famous and gets loads of money, then they get the opportunity to do whatever the hell they want. So, and they just, because not everybody who's famous, who's rich and famous, does these kind of things, do they? So I just think that if it's in you anyway, once you become rich and famous, you've got the opportunity then to do it, the wherewithal to do it. So this girl, apparently, according to what she says, the driver picked her up, the lawsuit says, and after 20 minutes, she was dropped off at a white house with a U-shaped driveway. The girl was then made to sign a document she believed to be a non-disclosure agreement. Well, it's a shame they didn't look at her ID, wasn't it, and see how old she was. I mean, 13. Anyway, she was allegedly offered a drink that made her feel woozy, lightheaded, and she felt like she needed to lie down. And shortly afterwards, the lawsuit says, both P. Diddy and Jay-Z entered the room with P. Diddy telling her, "You are ready to party." That's when she alleges, because these are allegations, of course, that Carter, who is Jay-Z, removed her clothes, held her down, and RAPD'd her while Coombs and an unnamed female celebrity watched. Who is why is she unnamed? Because if this is true and that woman sat there and witnessed an RAPE on a 13-year-old girl, she should be named. I don't know why she's not named and the other two are named. And then she says Coombs also RAPD'd her as Carter and the woman looked on. So the woman watched her being RAPD'd twice, according to this girl, this Jane Doe. So this woman needs to be, because the other thing is, they need to be named in a way. I mean, you could say they shouldn't be named unless it's proven. But while they're not named, then of course everyone will be talking now about who is this woman. You can't help it. Who is this woman? An unnamed female celebrity. Could be a singer, could be an actor, could be anyone, could be Beyonce, could be, I don't know who it is, but an unnamed female celebrity just casts aspersions on anyone. People will be talking about that. It's like, when it came out that somebody from the BBC's done something, Hugh Edwards, before his name came out, all these other people that got, looked at sideways. Anyway, she says, so this is just her version, of course, she grabbed her clothes and ran to the nearest petrol station where she called her father, and she's seeking unspecified damages. So, this is the point we always come to with these things is, is she jumping on the bandwagon? Is what she's saying true? Or is she had already filed a suit against Diddy. She had already done that, but now she's adding Jay-Z to that. I hope she's telling the truth because, if she's not telling the truth, that's terrible, of course, as well. But these things now, it's going to come down to her word against him and Jay-Z. Him and Jay-Z are going to team up together and say it didn't happen. So who do we believe? There'll be no evidence about it all these years later. She didn't go to and have an RAPE kit done. So Jay-Z has come out and denied it, of course, and said these allegations are so heinous in nature. I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. And he criticised the lawyer, Tony Busby, who filed the suit. My heart and support goes out to true victims in the world who have to watch how their life stories dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. He's talking about the lawyer there, not the girl. And Texas-based Mr. Busby told Sky News, the pleading speaks for itself. This is a very serious matter that will be litigated in court. So Diddy, a 3-time Grammy winner and one of the most influential hip-hop producers of the past 3 decades, has been facing a wave of lawsuits by women who have accused him of sexual assault. So the thing is, is it a question that one person speaks out other people then feel emboldened to speak out, who were frightened to speak out before. I think he's had so many accusations. I think it was 120. You think it's got to be something in it, because that's a lot, isn't it? You know, where one accusation comes out, that's always right. Who's telling the truth? Two come out, possibly. But when there's 120 accusations, 120 accusers, that is, let's have a look at this video.
In other news, Shawn Diddy Combs has been hit with 6 new lawsuits accusing him of sexual assault, including from a 16-year-old boy. The musician has been further accused of raping women and sexually assaulting men, though has previously denied all of the charges against him. Our US correspondent Martha Kellner has the latest.
These new civil suits have been brought by at least 6 separate individuals and contain a whole slew of damaging and disturbing allegations against P. Diddy. They're brought by 4 women and 2 men who allege variously that between the years of 1995 and 2021, they were either raped or sexually assaulted by P. Diddy. One of those people making the allegations is a man who says that he was a 16-year-old boy when he was sexually assaulted by P. Diddy, who he says presented it as some form of a rite of passage for getting into the music industry. He alleges that Shawn Combs told him, "Don't you want to break into the business?" before demanding that he drop his pants. There is an allegation also from a woman who says that she was 19 years old when P. Diddy raped her inside a Marriott hotel room in Manhattan. She's also taking civil action against Marriott hotels. There is another man who alleges that he was attacked by P. Diddy in the stockroom of Macy's, which is a department store here in the United States. He's taking action not only against Shawn Combs, but against Macy's department store as well. Lawyers for P. Diddy have again insisted that their client is innocent of the charges against him. They said Mr. Combs and his legal team have full confidence in the facts, their legal defence and the integrity of the judicial process. In court, they say the truth will prevail, that Mr. Combs has never sexually assaulted anyone, adult or minor, man or woman. Well, P. Diddy, Shawn Combs, also faces a federal criminal case that was brought against him recently. The trial date for that is set for May next year. It may be that federal prosecutors decide that these new civil claims could be helpful to them in either expanding their case or bringing the existing case against Shawn Combs, better known as P. Diddy.
Yeah. So that's, personally, I think just on the overwhelming amount of accusations, and there's supposed to be videos, and it's an actual criminal case, isn't it, that the trial's going to be heard next year. I think we can assume that Diddy probably has been up to something. Now, as far as Jay-Z's concerned, who knows? 24 years ago, was that before he was with Beyonce? I don't know. And Dottie's saying the woman's been named on other channels, but the thing is, she hasn't been named officially in the news or anything. So, I'd like to know who it is, but I'd also really rather wait until they're actually named, because otherwise I'm then just, maybe sharing gossip. I don't know. This might be gossip, but it's not gossip if it's in the mainstream media. It's open and I can talk about it. I'm not sort of, I'm just really reporting on what the news says, aren't I? But, what's sort of being said on other channels, I can't really comment on. But now, let's see. So on a Twitter account that I follow, this Matt Black, Be a Voice. So they've got the actual complaint in full on their channel. So let's have a look at it. I did get it up before. So this is the actual complaint. So let's see. So she comes like, yeah. So defendant Shawn Coombs, along with his longtime friend and collaborator Shawn Carter, also known as Jay-Zee, drugged and RAPD'd a 13-year-old girl at an after party following the 2000 Video Music Awards. Another celebrity, again, they don't, so this celebrity has not been named officially, stood by and watched as Coombs and Carter took turns assaulting the minor. I mean, what woman would sit there and just watch that happening? You know, I mean, it's like, come on, you know, she should be named. She should be named. I'm not sure why she hasn't been named. And then it says many others were present at the after party but did nothing to stop the assault. Again, name them. You've got to name them, because otherwise everyone, you know, like you're saying someone's been named, but we don't know if it was that person. Coombs has been allowed for years to conduct himself in this manner without any consequences. He believes he is above the law. He is not. His close friend Shawn Carter has been with Coombs during many such instances described herein. So is this just the tip of the iceberg? Are there going to be loads more coming out? Both perpetrators must face justice. For decades, defendant Coombs abused, molested, RAPD'd, assaulted, threatened and coerced women, minors and others for sexual gratification, to assert dominance and to conceal his abhorrent conduct. He accomplished these acts by and through a criminal enterprise built on his success as a rapper, a record producer and record executive. He is one of the wealthiest musical artists in the world. So yeah, there you go. Money, fame, power. So it says behind his, you know, his facade existed something sinister, a dark underbelly of crime, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, bribery and prostitution. Coombs is a menace to society, women and children. While his wealth has kept him above consequence for years, Coombs now faces the awesome power of the American judicial system and ultimately a jury of his peers who will be asked to punish him for his deplorable conduct described herein. So then it goes on to talk about his businesses, and he says he would tell victims, this is what it takes to be famous. What are you willing to do to become a star and perform this sexual act, or else? In exchange for the victim performing a non-consensual sex act for the gratification of Coombs and his cohort, who I presume they're saying is Jay-Zee. So, you know, they're very bye, Dottie. It can't be Oprah. I don't believe that about Oprah or Demi Moore. I believe it about Ellen DeGeneres. I mean, you know, I never liked her. Yeah, she's left America because of Trump getting into power. But you know, you don't want her in Britain, do you? I mean, I always thought she was a nasty person. And then, of course, it all came out about her being a bully. So I'm not saying it is Ellen DeGeneres because, you know, we don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me in the least if it was her. Put it that way, she's a nasty person, whatever. And I've always thought that. I always had a feeling of her. I never liked her, right? You know, sometimes you just get feelings of people, don't you, that there's something, you know, about. I'll tell you another woman that I feel like that about, and there's been a lot of talk about them, is Julie Andrews. Now, allegedly, because I think she's still alive, she might sue me, but I must be about the only person in the world who's never watched Sound of Music, or I think I have watched Mary Poppins years ago. I cannot bear Julie Andrews. She gives me the creeps. absolutely gives me the creeps. And if anyone's ever read any books by Jackie Collins, you know, used to write about the Hollywood world, didn't she? And they were the characters that Jackie Collins, unfortunately, no longer with us. Joan Collins's sister. She used to write all these books about Hollywood, and she would talk. They would be supposed to be about real people, but she wouldn't use their names, you know, or their real names. And she wrote about a character that I think was Julie Andrews quite a lot. So yeah, I can't bear Julie Andrews, and Ellen DeGeneres as well reminded me a lot of that sort of, I get that real freaky vibe off her. So, you know, even if this wasn't her, maybe it wasn't her, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was her, put it that way. Yeah. Yeah, I don't get that feeling off Oprah, to be honest, but you know, we all have our views and we all have our feelings. But Julie Andrews, again, I can't explain it. I don't know, apart from those Jackie Collins books that I remember reading, that character was if you read the books, you would know that it was Julie Andrews that she was talking about because of the description of her and that. Yeah, I don't know why she gives me the creeps. Although she just does. She just does give me the creeps. It's not because she's gay. I don't care if she's gay, straight, whatever she is. Same with Ellen DeGeneres. But then you don't just, you know, I just don't like her. I wouldn't like her, whoever she, you know, whatever her sexuality was. It's nothing to do with that. It's to do, she gives me the creeps. Ellen DeGeneres gives me the creeps. Julie Andrews gives me the creeps. You know, I might give them the creeps if they ever watch it. I'm just saying that's how I feel about them. Just a vibe, yeah. I don't get it off Oprah, but, you know, could be wrong. Could be wrong about Oprah too. But, yeah, no, a lot of people talk about Oprah, but no, I quite like Oprah. But anyway, there you go. I don't know. You know, I don't know these people, so I'm only going by a vibe that I get, just like how you could get, you know, a vibe off anybody. You get good vibes, you get bad vibes, and sometimes you just cannot put your finger on them, can you? You know, the reason why you feel like that. I'm trying to think of somebody else famous that makes me feel like that. There's a few. You know, you watch them being interviewed and there's just something, you know, that you just don't feel, you know, and others you watch and you think, oh, yeah, like Philip Schofield always gave me that vibe as well. I always thought he was horrible. I didn't like him before he came out, after he came out. I just never liked him. He was false. He came over to me as a very false person. Now, I was completely wrong about Hugh Edwards because I would never have known that about Hugh Edwards. So I didn't, you know, my spidey sense definitely didn't come out there. So you can't always be, you know, anyone, yeah. You can't always be right. No, I haven't always been right. As I never thought it was Hugh Edwards. He covered it up really well, I've got to say. I mean, I wouldn't say that I thought he was brilliant or anything. I just, you know, he was just someone who was on the telly. He never gave me a bad vibe, but Philip Schofield definitely did. I'm trying to think who else did. Jimmy Savile, of course, but he was just not when I was a kid because he was famous then, but he just always gave me the creeps because he always used to wear those funny little shorts, and I used to think, oh, you know, he always used to think, why is he wearing those tiny little shorts? Like, I don't want to see his skinny little legs and what have you. But yeah, you just get feelings from people, don't you? I'm trying to think of it. Whereas I don't get that from Oprah, but then maybe she was at those parties. I mean, the thing is, anyone who's moving in the same circles, surely they must hear rumours and things. So even if Oprah wasn't the one that was at that particular incident, she must have heard rumours about Diddy, you know, because you do, don't you? You Diddy do. Like with Philip Schofield, when it came out, there's probably everybody knew he was gay. You know, everybody knew. And probably most people knew about this runner and things like that, you know, that he was involved with. But people turn a blind eye, don't they, to things? So, yeah, maybe Oprah did know. you know, maybe she did. So, oh God, I know, and he's another one. So, right, when I finish this, I think I might say a little bit about because no, I'll do Gino in a different video. Oh God, you can't keep up with all these things coming out. So now Gino De Campo, but you know what? I've never liked him either. Isn't it funny? I feel because I always felt he put on his accent, you know, too much. His Italian accent, he made it was too. You know, I always felt he was false with his accent and everything, and yeah, I never really liked him very much. Yeah. Yeah, maybe with Oprah. No, I've never really looked into it, but she's done you know, but of course, a lot of these people, they do a lot of good work as well, don't they? Look at Jimmy Savile. That's how they get into these things. They go and help schools in Africa or India or wherever, poor countries. That's how they get access to victims, isn't it? You know, but yeah, God, well, in the end, you just think, God, what's going to come out next? Who's going to come out? You know, it'd be somebody, do these sort of industries just attract? I mean, they do attract these sort of people because these are the kind of people, they want to get famous. They want to get rich. They want the power, you know, not necessarily Oprah. When you think about it, Oprah came up from nothing, didn't she? And she had a very difficult childhood and that herself, didn't she? She was abused when she was a child. So you'd think she would be really sort of anti anything like this, but she must have known if she was going to those parties and she was close to Diddy, surely she knew something. You know, because these rumours go round, don't they? Afterwards, people always say, oh, yeah, everyone knew, you know, Philip Schofield was having an affair with that young lad. But why didn't they say something at the time? You know, yeah, Gary Glitter, yeah. Gary Glitter. God, I actually really like, you know, because that was, well, I was about 13, 14 when Gary Glitter was at his most famous, you know, all that, do you want to be in my gang? Oh, my God. And the thing is, of course, we didn't know he was wearing a wig. I went to see his film with my friends at the cinema. He had that film came out. And we were all sat, you know, singing, you want to be in my gang and everything. And we didn't realise. The thing is, when you're young as well, you don't realise, do you? You know, maybe now I would see it. If I was an adult watching Gary Glitter on the telly, I might think, oh, God, he's a weirdo. But not when you're like 12, 13. You don't have, you know, I just remember us all going to see him at the cinema, but not realising anything about it yet. Yeah, David, we don't want to be in your gang, Gary. We don't want to be in your gang, not anymore. But when I was 13, I did want to be in his gang. God, it's awful, isn't it? It's awful. But yeah, but you know, this is it. So how do they get, you know, are they like that and that's how they get into those circles? Or is it because they're like that, so they try and get famous and get access to children and get access to power and money? I just don't know. I just don't know. Anyway, so let me just carry on reading this. So members and associates of the Coombs business engaged in or attempted to engage in all these things, self-trafficking, forced labour. I mean, these are massive accusations. You know, this is like, these are huge accusations. You know, interstate transportation, forced labour. Interstate transportation for the purposes of prosecution, coercion, enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics offences, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The only thing that's not on there is murder. You know, that's everything else that you could possibly do is on there, isn't it? So, according to this legal document, for years, Coombs and his businesses engaged in a persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse towards women, men and minors, and this abuse was at times verbal, emotional, physical and sexual. Now, I just want to say again, this has gone on forever. If you know anything, like Kirk Douglas, he's thought to have actually murdered a young actress. Now, he's died, so I don't have to say, well, it is allegedly, because he was never prosecuted for it. But a young actress that was found murdered, it's thought that Kirk Douglas may well have done it. And he apparently was a notorious sex offender, casting couch, all that sort of thing. So this has always happened. It's not that it's only just started happening. But the difference now is, I suppose, with social media and things like that, things are coming, this Me Too movement, with Epstein, and then Harvey Weinstein, is he, or whatever. These things have always happened. It's not just started happening. It's just that now people are getting to find out about it. Maybe it's a bit harder now to keep things under wraps. Anyway, Coombs, according to this, allegedly ensured participation from these individuals by, amongst other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them with or without their knowledge. So this spiking, drugging people, goodness me, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support and threatening to cut off the same, and using intimidation, violence and illicit drugs. Coombs particularly fancied the use of the popular date rape drug Rofinol, or GHB, to commit heinous. God, you're terrified to take a drink when you're out now. You don't know. So people spike people's drinks just for fun. People spike their friends' drinks to, the frat boys and whatever, you do things like that, just for a laugh. It's funny. Ha ha. Let's see what happens. This is what is this horrible culture, and I've said before, when I was young, oh my God, we used to go out and drink other people's drinks. We would. Never, that's what, I'm just so glad I was young then, because to be young now would be no wonder young people have got anxiety and bloody don't want to go out the house. It's terrifying to go out the house now and be a young person. You don't know what's going to happen to you. Someone spiking your drink, or, I don't know, they or taking photos of you when you're drunk, or taking sex photos of you and passing them around all their friends or whatever. Everything's on camera now as well. God, thank God I wasn't on camera when I was young. I used to do loads of mad things, get drunk and like young people do. And it'd be horrible, wouldn't it, to think that somebody had all that evidence, to bribe you with or whatever. God. So partygoers were forced to consume the alcoholic beverage containing GHB either prior to entering or while at his parties. There are allegations of him dousing victims in lotions or similar body oils, also laced with GHB, so that the drug would be absorbed through the victim's skin and make it easier to assault him or her. Further, it is well known that he had a practice of lacing water bottles. He couldn't even have a water bottle in his house with other substances such as Xanax, and distributing them at his parties. Coombs's recurrent and pervasive physical abuse took place for multiple decades. And this is the important thing, I think, because it's not just him. His tendencies of violence and sexual assault were known amongst his colleagues, his employees, agents and businesses. On numerous occasions from at least on or about 1996 and continuing for years, Coombs assaulted women and men by striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at and kicking them. And he also assaulted children physically and sexually. He's a piece of shit, this guy, isn't he? He is a piece of shit. And the thing is, there are videos. You know, and that video of him and his girlfriend in the hotel corridor or whatever, you think if he's doing that in public, what is he doing inside? Whatever anyone does in public, you can bet that they're doing something a lot worse inside, do you know, when they definitely can't be seen. You know, he's just, and in the end, he's just got so big for his boots. He's like, thinks he can do anything. He's got omnipotent. He's like, I can do anything I want and nobody's holding me to account for this. You know, so if it turns out like someone like Oprah Winfrey knew about it and didn't say anything, well, she is just as bad, you know. Anyway, so he was found guilty of criminal mischief in 1996. In 1999, he was arrested and charged with assault, second degree assault and criminal mischief. And then he was arrested for his involvement in a shooting at a club in New York. Then another instance in 2016 where he kicked, dragged and threw a vase at a woman as she was attempting to leave. And he attempted to bribe the staff to ensure silence. So, gosh, so then these are all the different people that are accusing him. I'm not going to just read all them. You can find this on Twitter if you want to look through the whole thing. It's 21 pages long. All the different people. You know, at the oh, what's this? This is a photograph of an actual exemplary container used by Coombs and or his employees to insert GHB into alcoholic drinks. So it goes into a lot of, maybe at some point I will read through the whole thing, not now because I've got to go in a minute because I've got to get my lunch and then I've got classes later. But, you know, it's all outlined here. You know, the whole... maybe I'll go through it in parts at some point, go through the different complaints individually. So I think we can probably think that maybe he has done something wrong. I think he, you know, looks like he has done something. And you can bet that whatever has come out in the past and been discovered, it'll only be the tip of the iceberg. So, you know, when his trial comes up next year, I hope he gets the book thrown of it. But is it literally the tip of the iceberg as well, that there's going to be more people, you know, come out that have done this? Are there going to be more people? There's Robert Wagner and Natalie Wood. That was another domestic violence thing, wasn't it? And, you know, it was, yeah, it's horrible, really, isn't it? So you can bet. Now, I don't know if Jay-Z was involved or not. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. And I think there should be a criminal, what's the word? A criminal charge, not just civil suit, but a criminal charge against him. You know, at the end of the day, if he is guilty, he has to be, you know, brought to account for it. Oh, and I just want to show one more thing. Just one more thing. Because he's now saying, where's it gone? He's spoken out about it. Here we go. So he's called these accusations idiotic. Jay-Z accused in a civil lawsuit of raping a 13-year-old girl, along with, and he has responded with a lengthy statement calling the allegations idiotic. So, well, he mentioned something about that he has to talk to his children as well about it. So legal representatives for Coombs called the suits shameless publicity stunts designed to extract payments from celebrities who fear having lies spread about them, just as lies have been spread about Mr. Coombs. Now, I can see that probably sometimes happens, but I think, what was it, 150 or 120 accusations? I don't believe that they're all false. But anyway, they've got to have evidence as well, haven't they? Some sort of evidence, unless they're just looking for... it's like Prince Andrew, isn't it? Made the settlement. So he's completely innocent. He never met that woman, even though there's a photograph of him. But also he borrowed the money off Mummy, didn't he, to pay off his accuser. If you're not guilty, you don't pay off your accuser. I'm sorry, you just don't. Because if you genuinely are not guilty, you'd be like, you are. Do your worst, you know what I mean? You wouldn't care. What happened, if you're innocent, completely innocent, you're not going to pay anybody off. And obviously with Prince Andrew was patently guilty, and it just made it worse for himself. He kept digging holes, didn't he, with the car crash interview with Emily Maitlis, etc. He just kept digging bigger and bigger holes for him, and in the end he paid her off. So you don't pay somebody off if you're not guilty. So the same here. We'll see if Jay-Z is not guilty, then that's what he has to say. He's not guilty, and he has to fight his corner. But I bet if he does end up paying that girl off, it'll be because he's guilty, I think. But anyway, so Mr. Coombs apparently has full confidence in the facts and the integrity of the judicial process. The truth will prevail. Mr. Coombs never sex assaulted or trafficked anyone, man, woman, adult or minor. So you have made, this is what Jay-Z said, you have made a terrible error in judgment thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the project of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We have strict codes and honor. We protect children. Well, we'll see, Jay-Z, won't we? We'll see. We'll see what happens. So he then added, my only heartbreak is for my family, Jay-Z said in the statement. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake psychics, will believe the idiotic claims you have levied against me, that if not for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids, would be laughable, Carter added. Now, the thing is, though, these things allegedly happened 20-odd years ago when he didn't have kids, perhaps. And, sometimes these sort of people, they don't worry about other people's kids. They only worry about their own. So later, when he's had kids, he won't want, if he's got a daughter who's 13, he won't want her to think that he's ever done anything like that. But, he was a lot younger then. Maybe he didn't care about it then. Maybe, people do change, they do maybe. But the thing is, for anyone to be forgiven for anything they've done, they have to, first of all, admit it. They have to admit they did it one way or another. And I know he won't want to admit that he did something like that. But at the end of the day, it's quite likely that he may have done when he was younger. And maybe, now he would not do it. And he would be outraged at anyone that did it, because he's got maybe daughters of that age now. But that's not maybe how he felt then, allegedly. I don't know, but I'm just saying people change, don't they? So we'll see. Yeah. Okay. So that's it. So I just thought I'd let you know what was happening. I'd say this is something that I've not covered at all so far. It was just when that came up. I've been sort of trying not to cover it because I don't know much about Diddy, and I don't know anything about him at all, you know, as a person or as an artist or whatever. I'm just, to be perfectly honest, I've never even heard of him because he's like so after my time, if you like. But then when this came out about Jay-Z, I do know about Jay-Z, and I know about Beyonce. Obviously, I like Beyonce, so it's a shame, isn't it, if she knew about it or whatever, or was it just what you know? Thing is, well, we'll see. Time will tell. It'll all come out in the wash, as they say. One way or another. Diddy's got his trial next year. Whether Jay-Z's will go to trial or not, maybe more will come out now. Because really, in our experience, we know that once one accusation comes out against Jay-Z, will there be other girls who then will be emboldened by that to come out and tell their story as well? Or jump on the bandwagon, as he would probably say. But yeah, if he has done that, if he has done that, it won't be the only thing he's done. Just won't be. He won't have just done it once and then he didn't feel like doing it again. If that's true that he's done that, there'll be more coming out, won't they? Okay, I'll speak to you soon, and until then, oh, don't forget members tonight. We've got a new members video to show you. See you later, and until I see you again, may your God go with you. Take care. Bye.